It ain't easy to talk about, yeah. Say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Say, yeah, yeah. It ain't easy, no. It ain't easy. Right. No. I'm fighting. I'm fighting until my mind has an explosion, trying to find a resolution. I'm fighting until my mind has an explosion, trying to find a resolution.
Você sabe que eu não canto se você não canta.
Welcome. We are back. Another day in the market. To answer your question, Zeke, this is the name of that song, which is like the current intro song. How's everybody doing? We're back. It's a new week. Crazy start to the week. I mean, we closed flat, but what happened in between was absolutely insane. Futures are green right now. They were up even more earlier. But whoa, I mean, yeah, they're kind of pulling back a little bit here, not too much. After hours was pretty nice as well. My NVDA was up 1.5%. Hopefully it holds that in the morning. We will see though. But a lot to talk about. You have a major earnings week. Okay, Netflix is reporting tomorrow after the close. J&J before the open. Let's see if I can find this. Shout out to Cheddar Freeze. There we go. Netflix. All right, so J&J before the open tomorrow. Netflix, IBM, Interactive Brokers after the close. PNG, Nasdaq before the open on Wednesday. Tesla after close. United Airlines, I think that is after the close on Wednesday. Thursday, American Airlines, AT&T. A lot of you know how I feel about AT&T's chart long term, even though it had a weird movement lately. Snapchat on Thursday after the close. I think that's Snapchat's the snapping. And Verizon on Friday. So it's a big, even Amex on Friday. So it's a big earnings week. I don't think there's too much like economic data or anything. I don't think we have CPI numbers or FOMC. I might be mistaken. But yeah, all right. So it's been a long weekend. Happy Easter to everybody who participate. I don't know the right words to use, but happy Easter or happy late Easter one day. I wasn't live last night, and I did say, what was I gonna say? I've been saying Sunday streams will come back in like literally like 2 weeks. So in May, Sunday streams will be back, and 9 p.m. every night the whole entire summer for 4 months. It's gonna be longer streams. The timestamps are gonna be coming back. TikTok, Instagram is gonna be coming back. It's gonna be amazing. Just give me a couple weeks, all right? And yeah, first off, before we get into stocks, playoffs just started. If you watch the NBA, I tried to do a basketball thumbnail for this week. Drop whichever team you think is going to win the finals in the chat. And yeah, let's get started. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And before I even talk about, well, what I'm going to talk about tonight is crypto really quickly for 5 minutes. And I'm going to talk about the overall stock market. We're going to be talking about why I think the market can be bottoming right here, at least for the short term. And again, I only think that, I don't know the future. We're going to talk about some new swings. There's a new clov swing, a new swing on Citibank, and some potential new swings that might come out later in the week. We'll talk about Twitter, so all that good stuff. Even gold had a nice move. If you watch the streams, you were probably waiting for that move. Yeah, before we can get into that, let's just talk about today, the price action. So I think we gapped down a little bit. I mean, we can go take a look at the SPY. I just like starting off with like what happened today. So we already kind of talked about after hours, which was nice, and futures are green. But let's see. Where did you open? Today was the 18th. All right. So you gapped down, and then you immediately shot up to do like a red to green. And then it was just choppiness. All right. So we saw a little bit of up down in the morning right away. And then we kind of had a larger sell-off over here. Then we had a larger move up. Then we had a larger move down. Then we had a larger move up. If I turn on after hours, you can see you actually went back up there. So, I mean, overall, it was just a very W type of day. I mean, we got a nice big W over here. But that was really the price action from today. Before we even get into like crypto and stuff, and I do the actual technical analysis, I want to talk about just how today went. Let's see what's in the chat. Mehdi's got the Celtics. Big Nate. I wish the Lakers were in the playoffs. I really do. Max says Miami got something brewing. I think I have to go for Miami now because the Lakers aren't in. Zeke says when you end up talking about, check out the daily. It's back testing the major wedge supply line that has formed since it became a stock. Wow. I'll try, just remind me when we get there. And then Mike says Memphis Grizzlies. I think the Suns, not the Suns, Golden State and the Nuggets are playing tonight. After I stream, I think. Yeah, 10 o'clock, like an hour. And right now the Raptors are playing. So there you go, Mehdi. That's why you're probably talking about the Raptors earlier. All right. So let's get started. Today, even before we get into the analysis, I woke up at 8:30. I had a class at 9. Went to my class. Got back to this apartment at 10 o'clock, right, or around 10:20, 10:30. And it was absolutely insane. I put out a tweet about this, but today was like, it was stressful, but today was like, I just can't even explain I just wish there was like a camera like looking at me during all this. But yeah, I got back at like 10:30 and I got a cup of coffee. I sat down, and what took place between 10:30 and like 2:30 was insane. So that's what, like 4 hours. Those 4 hours like flew by. I sat down, and then the next thing I can remember, like I can remember what happened. I wasn't like on drugs or something, but like I sat down, and then all of a sudden I'm like, why am I hungry? I thought I just had coffee and what I had for breakfast. I like a rice pudding. Like I thought I just ate. And then I look up, I'm like, why am I hungry? I just feel like I just sat down, and I look up and it's 2:30 in the afternoon. 4 hours had gone by, and I did not stand up once. I didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't get water. I sat right here and was just back and forth. And yeah, basically all this happened in between then. But we got a lot to break down. I alerted 4 different option ideas today. I'm like super tired, so I'm going to be forgetting a lot of things on tonight's stream. But I alerted Citi calls, which is C. I alerted clov calls. I alerted NVDA calls in premium, and then I alerted Facebook calls to all of you. Facebook calls were marked green on the sheet. They went up 20%, and also NVIDIA calls went up 40%. They were marked green. The Citi calls went up 18%, 2 more percent than I could have marked them green. I really could have just marked them green. I just didn't. And then they closed down a little bit. And then clov calls they went up, they went down a little bit, they closed flat. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But we're going to break down all that in a little bit. But yeah, I alerted those 4 different option ideas. And when I alert something, I don't just like, just look at a chart for 2 minutes and just alert it. No, it takes it takes like half an hour for me to just see how it's moving. before I alert each one of these, and then literally I have to stay at my seat and just look at the chart, because these are like short term. I actually called them a couple weeks out, but they're moving quick and I got to be around to give updates. Like, we're going to go through the premium chat and even the trading chat, and I was just updating the whole entire day on all these options and the overall market. While I was doing it, I was lining up 2 new swings on financials, which might be breaking out, which we're going to be talking about tonight. I had to update the simulator ETF, of course, with the help of everybody, Mehdi and Lloyd Bogendorf. But I was like trying to do, I was trying to do like the math and like how many shares had to be bought, and I had to, it was like crazy. I don't know how Lloyd Bogendorf does it all so quickly. And I was obviously doing my normal thing, all these tweets from today talking about the market and what I was seeing. So I just sat here, and it was like, it really, like, I felt like I ran like a mental marathon when I like just realized it was 2:30, like out of nowhere. And during all of that, I was trading myself as well, and giving updates on those options, like I said. So I ended up closing green. I had a nice green day. But if I would have sold over here, it would have been like double the profit. So yeah, basically I was like scaling into calls in this whole entire period over here very nicely and easy. Like, honestly, it was a really good scaling. And I took some profits when we had this run up here. If I would have taken a lot more profits, I would have had them double the profits, if that makes sense. I don't want to say numbers. But I don't know, it doesn't really matter, because in like the last 10 minutes we just ran all the way back up if you include after hours. So I was like, you know, when we were having this like 2-hour sell-off, it sucked a little bit because it was like literally non-stop. I mean, we've typically at least been having like bounces like here and there, but yeah, that was just a little bit of a storytelling breakdown from today before we get into like the actual like technicals and all that, which I'm about to start with. So we're going to come back to the market in 5-10 minutes. Let's start off with crypto and some other markets before we talk about stocks. And let's get going with Bitcoin, which is developing hidden bullish divergence. I've redrawn this demand line a couple times. Now again, you know, if your lines that you're drawing are not really acting as support or resistance, and you can find a better formation where you have more touches and it's acting like support or resistance, you can redraw. Obviously, don't be doing it every single time you test a line. But yeah, you know, you're trying to hold on to this demand line. I mean, you could even just make like a demand zone and just like fill up the area in between, but like, there you go. You did. Let's see if you did. I believe you had a bullish engulfing candle today for Bitcoin. 4-hour hidden bullish divergence. On the 4-hour, you broke out of this little wedge right over here, or channel. And you did also have classic bullish divergence. And here's something I'm very excited for tonight. All right. Divergence is everywhere for the first time in a while. I started hinting at this towards the end of last week for those who were watching. It started to develop on the S&P and the QQQ, and we had that hidden bullish divergence on the daily, which we still have. But crypto, stocks, overall markets, you name it, divergence and bullish divergence is starting to appear across the board, which you're going to see throughout this stream. It's going to be a constant theme. So there you go, Bitcoin. Hopefully can run back up to 45K, but it's just got to hold this recent low. You even kind of had a nice little wick over here showing that the buyers did step up. We'll see what happens. The one ongoing crypto swing, which it shouldn't be ongoing, and it's really frustrating, honestly. And the night that this happened, I mean, it took me a couple hours to fall asleep just because of this happened. I'm not even gonna lie, but yeah, it basically. So at one point this was down 13%, and then it decided to rally 35% that's not one day, in a couple days, right? And it went up all the way over here to 49.60. The literal first target was 49.93. Now I was actually watching this live, okay? When it was up at these areas, it was at 49.60, and I was like, all right, it's only 30 cents. That's not even like a 1% difference. I don't even have to. I can just like, typically when we get close, I'm like, oh, let me just alert everybody, because like it's pretty much close enough. And I was like, there's no way that it just went up 35%, and it's literally not going to go up another like 0.5%. It's not going to happen. And I look away for 5-10 minutes, and I come back and it dropped like 7-8%. I couldn't believe it, and it just kept on dropping. So for those of you who were awake and saw this, basically it did hit the first target. I just didn't mark it green, but hopefully you can hit that target again. It does have some hidden bullish divergence. I mentioned this in the Discord. It's kind of like the third time. Now, I don't know if I call this numbers head and shoulders, but third time bouncing off this zone. Even on the 1 hour, you've got like a wedge breakout. the variables are still there for diesel, all right? Just got to hold this support area, which it has been holding, even got the daily almost a bullish pin bar and some hidden bullish divergence. So variables are still there. It's still, I mean, it basically went up to the first target and came back down to the entry, and now the variables are still the same. So you take that how you want to, all right? OMI, has that hit the bat PCC? Not yet, but nice little wick up today, kind of like a pin bar. And then finally Ethereum, yeah, kind of, I would say this looks a little bit closer to your pin bar engulfing. It's not engulfing, but close to engulfing. Hidden bullish divergence, kind of a random area, to be honest. I don't really know, it wasn't the golden zone, but remember this, I think I charted this at the end of last week, but this is Ethereum's testing a breakout of this 4-hour wedge with triple classic bullish divergence. All right, divergence is literally everywhere, and you're about to see it. Okay, if you ever get confused by these terms or you want to learn more about divergence, the free course is in the description. Let's get started with oil. Remember, step by step, the breakout to the breakdown with the bearish engulfing to the 4-hour bullish bag to the falling wedge, and now it broke out of the wedge and it's been running, just non-stop different things happening. Now it's retesting highs from the end of March, so it's testing resistance. Break this resistance, you can probably test that blue zone. If you can't break this, you're probably going to go back down to 98-ish. We'll see. The Hang Seng Index, let's see what that's up to. Just going sideways, got a little bit of hidden bearish divergence. Let's talk about metals for a second here. All right, metals was like metals have been like the secret swing trade alert for anybody who just watches this. I didn't put it on Discord or on Twitter. If you just watch the stream and you've seen my face talking about gold and silver for the last like 2 or 3 weeks, step by step, breakout, back test, breakout, hidden bullish divergence, and now they're running. That's literally the update, okay? The technicals are pulling out, they're running. Congratulations. A little bit of a shooting star on gold, actually. And then the dollar making new highs after that 4-hour range breakout. This kind of did nothing. This little wedge that I drew just kind of got invalidated. And yeah, those are some other markets. Actually, before we even get into like the S&P and everything, we're gonna look at 2 different ones now. We're gonna look at XLE first, which just made a new high, closed at a new high. And look at this, XLE has broken above the mega resistance. All right, this is the Energy Select Sector Fund, and it's broken above a very critical resistance zone. Okay, and we actually don't have a lot of energy exposure, lower Vulcan Duff said, for the simulator ETF, so I might have to start looking to some energy stocks. But let's see where the next resistance is now that it's breaking out from this. I mean, 89 for XLE. We'll see what happens. All right, and I also want to look at XLF. All right, financials. They let's just say I had a big smile on my face when I looked at some of these financials this morning. Okay, so let's look at XLF first. I don't even think I looked at XLF today. So it's just kind of the same thing, but for financials. And I mean, honestly, this doesn't look like how a lot of them look. I don't know. This looks meh. You know, it's kind of got those inverse head and shoulders vibes like the market, but just wait till you see what I'm about to show you. Okay, so actually I guess we'll talk about these before we even talk about the overall market. All right, let's get started with financials. So we start with this. All right, JP Morgan, was it? I think it was Morgan Stanley actually. All right, Morgan Stanley. I was scanning as I do every single weekend, and I share the watch with some premium. Okay, and it came across on my scanner, and I looked at probably 100 tickers yesterday, and this was one of them that looked nice to me. Let me see if I can find it. Where's Morgan Stanley? There we go, Morgan Stanley. I saw this dragon pattern, the divergence. I threw it on the watch list for this week in premium, and I looked at it in the morning. It was up a little bit. I'm like, I should go take a look at the other financials at the other banks, and I was amazed. All right, this is not financial advice, but you all know I have these periods where I feel better about certain sectors than others and stuff like that. You know, more recently it was the metals. It's quickly becoming financials. Okay, again, it's not a certainty. Just because we have variables on a chart doesn't mean for sure these assets are going up. You all know that's not how this works. But if you had to tell me, pick your favorite sector for the next month and a half, 2 months, It's financial. It's like these basket of 4 or 5 like large banks. That's what it is. And I'm gonna show you all why. All right, and we're gonna come back to a lot of these because they're like swings. So I put out one swing on City. But yeah, disclosure, I do have calls on City, and I think I still have JP Morgan. All right, so I have calls on City and JP Morgan. I did sell. I took profits. I barely had any money in Morgan Stanley calls. They were up like, I don't even remember how much percent. I took profits. Those, I think they were weekly calls, but I still have 2 out of the 3. What's it called? 2 out of the 3 calls I opened in like the banks today. But yeah, Morgan Stanley. And honestly, I have to relook at this tomorrow morning, because look at this. All right, confirmed classic bullish divergence, as clear as it gets. 2 different large wicked candles at this 82 level, double bottoming. Okay, now this level, I think it might just be from those 2 those I have it charted, but you also have that supply line that you're testing. Okay, cool. You have daily variables. Well, same thing on the 4 hour. For the low, the divergence is also there on the 4 hour. You're still testing that supply line. So that's Morgan Stanley. That was on the weekly watches. Then you also got JP Morgan. Okay, this is a gap to fill first off at 130. Same thing. This one actually has a bullish engulfing candle, classic bullish divergence. It's in this larger wedge. That's another one. Oh wait, we're not done. 4 hour has triple classic bullish divergence on both oscillators. All right, now let's move on to City. Now this is the one where I'm holding calls in. I alerted calls in premium. We actually lowered. All right, so we have the ETF simulator. If you don't know what that is, join the Discord. Links in the description. We have the ETF simulator. And we added Coinbase to the ETF simulator, right? And we actually, I got in a call with Lord Bogdanov today, and we decided to lower the allocation on Coinbase by 3% and increase our allocation. We already had C in the ETF simulator, to increase the allocation of C by 3%. All right, so I'm in calls myself. I alerted calls in premium. We added to the ETF simulator, and I swing trade for all of you on City today, okay? That's a lot of different alerts, whatever you want to call them. All right, and so I got. I'm actually down a little bit. I might be up on JPM and I'm down on City, but I was up some amount on my City calls today, and then it just kind of pulled back towards the end of the day. I still have kind of like a starter position, but yeah, I alerted. We're gonna talk about the calls later on in the stream. I still have to go over the overall market. Right now, I'm just talking about just financials. Okay, forget the swings, forget the options alerts. I'm just talking about the financials in general. But yeah, I alerted all of that, and where was I? It's been a long day. Basically, this chart has a bullish cipher, classic bullish divergence confirmed as of today. Just broke out of a falling wedge after double bottoming twice at that piece. You see the first bottom being a bullish hammer candle. We go over to the 4 hour chart. It's also got classic bullish divergence and a breakout and a back test. 1 hour, very clear double bottom. It's testing the neckline, and there was like a big option buy. I think I actually shared this. Let's see, did I share it? There we go. All right, so look at these premiums: 500,000, 500,000, 200K, almost 500,000, 300K, 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 $1.4 million. This expires next January, but some big, these are only filtered for sweeps, but even in the morning when I looked at this at 11 o'clock, it was 88% calls to puts. All right, so yeah, financials was the start to my morning, and I'm still keeping a very close eye on them. We're going to come back to this when I just talk about how I set up the swing and everything, but I just want to talk about financials for a quick second. Now I want to talk about the overall market because we still haven't done that. All right, title of the stream: market bottoming, question mark. Well, it's time to get the big ego hat on right now, as you all know I like to do. And of course, titled tweet literally saying I am calling that the bottom is slowly in from a technical standpoint, right where that arrow is. And then we also talked about the rising wedge breakdown on the 1 hour. Shout out to like Papa Strado, Stocksman mentioned this on Twitter. There was a spy had a 1 hour rising wedge that broke down, and this was like literally at the top. So we had those two. And then we've been pulling back. And to be fair, there's been a couple of days where I've said, you know, we're starting to show some variables in like the last few days, but at the same time, like, it's not like those were wrong. We're still pretty much the same exact prices. It's just the variables are continuing to develop. All right. So let's get started. We're going to go from the daily down to the low time frames. We're going to do this for all of the different, for the SPY, the QQQ, the Russell, the NASDAQ, the ARK ETF, all right? Starting off, if you watched last week's streams, you know this, hidden bullish divergence is almost like, not everywhere, but it's on a lot of different assets developing on the daily. So we have that potential for that on the daily. Same exact thing on the 4 hour, okay? We obviously also have this macro inverse head and shoulders idea / look, whatever. It's not perfect. You typically want those shoulders to be more parallel, but at the same time, it's not a horrible thing that this right shoulder is way higher. It also just shows that the bears are not as strong as they were over here, okay? They're just not for now. I mean, if we sell off more, then I guess they are. But we have that. We've got both of these candles. I mean, apart from this one bullish engulfing candle, these are at least the 2 candles that are not just like red flush candles for the first time since like over here on the 4 hour. On the 1 hour chart for the S&P, all right, you can clearly see we closed the day with the 1 hour hammer candle, and that actually played out a little bit after hours. All right, and on top of the 4 hour and the daily hidden bullish divergence developing, we have 1 hour quadruple classic bullish divergence. And all this is taking place within this downsloping channel, in which, if we go to extended hours, it's actually going to be scuffed. But you're at 439.16 after hours. You broke out of or you're testing a breakout of after hours. All right. So you were very, very close right there. And that's the S&P. And yeah, divergence everywhere. You now, wrong one. You now bottomed twice right off this 436 level. It would have just been cool if somebody was able to identify that support. You know, like, it's all good for me to come on the stream and say, oh yeah, the market bounced twice, but like, if only like we were at the low of the days and I was like saying the SPY's at a major support. Oh wait. All right. We were in the mid 435 area, and yeah, that was still like your low of the day. You basically rallied right off that area, okay, that major support right over here, and then you just retested it. You just retested the low of the day at the end of the day, and then you rallied right off of it again. So not once, but twice now, we have bounced off of what I called the final major support for a while on the S&P. Why did I randomly say that? Well, not randomly, but why did I say that, okay? This 436, 435 zone, level, whatever you want to call it. Take a look. And this is why you always want to be looking left on your charts, right? Got that low, this low, this low, this candle high, and this low, all right? A lot of price action right off this level, and you bounce off of it big time twice there. I think you had 1% bounces off the level. Almost, all right? So that's your S&P. I'll go a little bit quicker on the others. The QQQ is testing its major zone. You can see those arrows. Same thing with the potential hidden bullish divergence for the Qs. 4 hour daily, you name it. 1 hour chart, you've got that wedge breakout. You could also just realign and call it a channel. I think that's actually a better way to look at it. Pretty similar. The Russell 2000 has actually been bouncing. I think I have this chart in somewhere. Yeah, it's been bouncing, and it's been in this little range between like 196 and 202. It's towards the bottom of the range, and it's bouncing off the bottom of the range. So for all of you that trade small caps, keep an eye on that level. Hopefully it holds. Same thing here with that hidden bullish divergence. The NASDAQ. This is probably, you know, the SPY inverse head and shoulders. It's a lot more scuffed. It's over here. It's a lot more scuffed. The NASDAQ inverse head and shoulders is beautiful for now. Again, it's only potential. This technically means nothing until you get up here. But if these general areas can hold, wow, that was a really large area, but if those general areas can hold, I mean, let's just take a look at it like this. Wishful thinking, we need a lot more confirmation, all right? Let's say we do it, all right? We break out. The measured move of a breakout takes us to all-time highs. And not only is the measured move taking us all-time highs, I also think if we break out of these large inverse head and shoulders on the daily time frames after having pretty much a bear market Q1 to start the year, apart from that crazy like 2-week rally, I do think if we break these inverse head and shoulders, I mean, on the NASDAQ, it's about like a 9-10% move. I think we're going to make new all-time highs if we break out, okay? We got to get there first, right? That's right now, it's very, very far. Even with autopilot mode, it's going to take some time. So yeah, apart from that, finally, the ARK ETF. This is kind of in the middle of nowhere. And here's the other thing for anybody, you know, if your vibes are still down, you know, Q1 wasn't a great quarter for many people. Even if you trade growth stocks, not just Q1, but literally for more than a year now, growth stocks have been selling off majorly compared to all the other markets, not markets, but indices of the US stock market. Growth, mid caps, all those names, you know the names, you don't have to talk about it. Zoom, Teladoc, Fisker, Clove, Lucid, a lot of those EVs, pot stocks. We all know the names I always talk about. They got crushed. They got, at least compared to their highs. And again, a lot of those highs were unfair last February. They were heavily overvalued, and some of them were part of a bubble, and some of them will probably stay on for a while. But here's the thing, and this is where I think a lot of people are still just not understanding, okay? I just use the ARK as an example. I don't want to just say, oh, it's like literally the ARK, but in general, all right? If growth stocks and these mid-cap growth stocks never come back, I'll stop streaming. All right, I'll stop streaming. I can't tell you 100% they're going to come back. Again, I don't know. It could be in 2 months. It could be in 2 years. But a lot of these names still have the potential to create life-changing opportunities for many, many people. And a lot of people are still forgetting that, okay? The only issue is the time. There's been like 3 or 4 times where it looked like they were ready to go. They had like 40, 50% moves in like 20 days, March, and then they just kind of drop all the way back down, like right now. So it's like, again, the moves we saw for these, like, for example, something like Clove literally went up 89%, went up 89%, and it looks like nothing. So imagine if we make common retraces. Again, I'm not just talking about Clove or ARK, I'm talking about these names in general. Imagine if we just make common retraces, even just go halfway back up. If this was the move that got something like Clove to go up 89%, what does this type of move do? Not just for Clove, but for a lot of other names. And that's the other thing. Right now, there's not much of an edge, to be fair. But longer term, I do think we will see a world where, again, not just necessarily this, but a lot of these types of names, which are the only assets, apart from like some altcoins in the crypto space, that have weekly chart harmonics with like literally 2 years of price action, okay? And major classic bullish divergence on the weekly. I mean, let's see if we can go find one really quickly, actually, okay? Oh, that wasn't too hard. Let's see if we can find another one. That wasn't too hard. Let's see if we can find one more. Let me think. Let me think. Oh wow. Not necessarily, and again, it doesn't just have to be harmonic. Huge wedges, huge divergence, huge support zones. Again, I'm not just trying to pick out these specific names, I'm just saying these types of names in general. I just think it's very interesting that these insanely large patterns are appearing time and time and time again, okay? And here's the thing, these took 2 years. They're not gonna play out in 1 month, all right? Even if they do play out. And again, not all of them are gonna play out. And I don't care if I sound like a broken record. My job is to share what I think could be opportunity, and typically opportunity in the market is where people get fearful and wanna look away. But it's all good, it's all good, all right? And that's your market analysis, and that's my typical, like, once every couple of weeks growth stock rant. But again, it's not a 2 week thing. It's a long game, and there's no certainty within the game. All right, so hit the like button, the subscribe button. And that's your market. That's the overall market. Where should we pivot to now? Let's talk about City, the new Salim. Okay. City. We already talked about the variables, the classic bullish divergence, the cipher, the wedge. How did I line this up? Very simple. All right. I put the stops under those 2 different lows. First target was at these highs. Second target right under this 200-day moving average. You could also take a look at this gap fill over here. And then third target under this $69 level. You got a high over here, some highs over here, some lows over here, some highs over here. So that's how I lined up the trade. 7% stop, third target's 31% move. Clove was also there towards the end of last week. It was down 6% today. Basically hitting bullish divergence on the daily, okay? potentially. 4 hour has been in this wedge since the end of March. So for the whole entire month of April, clov has been in a falling wedge. Same thing with the hidden bullish divergence potential. Also, Bollinger Band, it's at the lower Bollinger Band on the 4 hour. 1 hour, you can see the wedge a little bit clearer. Kind of classic bullish, triple classic bullish divergence, kind of. So yeah, and very similar to clov with this large 1 hour wedge. Fisker has a large 1 hour wedge with some divergence. So they're not like fully at the apexes of these wedges. I mean, like a 4 or 5% move on either could break them out. But they're getting there. They're getting closer and closer by the day. Fisker and clov. So we'll see what happens. Facebook, I'll talk about the calls later. But in terms of like the overall swing, again, I marked it green right over here. Now it's back at where it's initially alerted. There's not much of any edge difference. Same thing for Neo. I marked Neo green on the sheet on this exact day. Pretty much back by the entry. Not much of any edge difference. Smile Direct Club, this already hit first target. It's got some hidden bullish divergence. It would be interesting if Smile Direct Club made another higher low right here. Just saying. And then there were some swings that failed. Okay, one of them being MULN. And again, I try to be very clear about this. Technicals are not a certainty. And I was talking about this a lot because the variables were there. However, the variables only give you an edge. They do not give you a certainty. All right. But yeah, so I tweeted this last week. I want to make one thing clear. There's going to be times where I mainly tweet about one ticker such as MULN like I did for like 2 days last week. Everybody was asking me about it. I saw it everywhere and it was looking interesting on the chart. And of course, I did also bring up the Hindenburg allegation on the stream, and it just did not work out. So it broke the level that I was watching. Trade stopped out. It was failed, and it's unfortunate for anybody still in. I hope it works out for you. Like genuinely, I still have it on my watches. I'll still be watching it. It actually did drop down to fill this gap over here, and it still has the potential for hidden bullish divergence. It's just like well under the stop, you know. So to a certain degree as well, the stop did help because the stop was right under that support. So it sucks, and in general, the swings have not been doing great. And again, I'm never going to shy away from that because you all know there has been, and hopefully not, maybe this was like one of the best weeks ever. I don't know if this is even like possible. We're also in a very different market, but hopefully just weeks somewhat like this can happen again. And like literally like 2 or 3 of these makes up for like all of these, which is crazy. But we'll see what happens. Why didn't the weekly sheet post today? Was this? Oh, it did post today. So yeah. Again, 3 to 1 reward to risk, and I mean, like this top half is all like new swings. These are kind of like older swings. So look out for new swings if these market variables can confirm. So those are the swings. I don't think I missed any. We can do the day trade recaps and everything. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I don't know if I said something, but like I don't know where like half the people left. Sorry if I said something bad. Actually, I don't care. I see some vibes in the chat though. Check out technical trades. Oh yeah, the clov back test you're talking about. Yeah, you could look at it like that. I think I did have this supply line charted at one point. Yeah, I see that. Nice. What was I gonna say? Forgot. So let's get started with the breakdowns. All right, we're gonna start off with NVDA, which I didn't even really talk about, but another disclaimer: I have NVIDIA calls, and it was alerted in premium. Hold up, give me a second. Look at my Twitter for a second. All right. Wrong button. How do I? Okay. Is that good? All right. NVIDIA is testing a major support. This was also on the weekly watch list, I believe. But basically, NVIDIA is back testing a previous wedge / supply on the screen line, and it's also in like a wedge. On the 1 hour, it's kind of breaking out of this wedge. It's another one with daily hidden bullish divergence. You can see how many lows it has around this level, which used to be a gap fill and a previous high. NVIDIA on the 4 hour has some somewhat hidden bullish divergence. You technically, if you really zoom in, made a lower low, but if you just, it's relatively the same low, which gives you class B. It's not really textbook, but it's pretty kind of there. Pretty, you get what I'm saying. Gap fill at 231 for NVIDIA. I mean, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last 6 times NVIDIA came down to the sun and bounced off of it. I hope it's not my luck that the 6th time is the time that it doesn't bounce off of it, but hopefully it bounces off of it again. Again, it's all about reward to risk, right? There's no certainty it's going to bounce at this level, but the risk compared to even like just going for a gap fill, it's at least a 1-to-1, but going for like this gap fill is a 3-to-1. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens. On the 1 hour chart, it's breaking out of this little wedge, and yeah, this went up 40% after the alert, and it went to a new session high after hours, which is pretty exciting. Boom. The 3 rising valleys kind of played out after hours, I guess. But yeah, I did spot this 3 rising values later on in the day, but initially, let me walk you through the idea behind this NVIDIA alert, which was the first alert of the day out of 3 of them. 5-minute burning wedge back test. That back test actually did not hold. It actually fell down towards this area. Okay. 30-minute double bottom classic bullish divergence. 1 hour wedge, which I just showed you, which actually broke out later in the day. Again, this was shared at 10:57 a.m. All right. 4 hour, same zone in the somewhat hidden bullish divergence I just showed you. All right. And this is what pretty much happened. Okay. It did not start off strong. Like I said, I alerted it. I think somewhere in these areas, probably somewhere around over here. I think it was somewhere around over here. And it flushed down to these levels. And here's pretty much what happened, okay? KAZ says should not be testing 6 times. We think that's a good point. It's a valid point. You know, it should have just kind of cleared it. But at the same time, it's support for right now. So, what was I going to say? Consolidated over here, and basically at these lows the calls were down around like 30%, and I low that stopped around 30%. And this is why I do option updates, and that's why I was saying earlier I can't just alert these calls like some other people do, I'm not going to name, and just walk away and just let you all, you know, just like let it become like the Wild West. I had to sit down and just watch it step by step, and this is what happened. Because initially the stop would have been 20%, then I had to lower it to 30%, okay? And this is pretty much what happened. It developed a 1-minute Gartley. And when it was down at the lows, right over here on this exact candle, okay, you can see the timestamps if you want. 12:25 was this 5-minute candle, okay? Let's see if we can find it. So 12:28, during that 5-minute candle, I shared the Gartley, and I said, if it breaks the current lows with confirmation, it will be marked red, all right? So close a 5-minute at a new session low, and I'll mark it red, okay? This was at 12:29 before, okay, or pretty much during the lowest 5-minute candle of the day. And this is why it's not just alert something, set a price target, set a stop, and just walk away. Like, you also have to have the ability to understand when things are changing, okay? Because if it was just follow 30% and it was pretty much tapping it, like it could have just been like the worst stop hunt ever. And that's why I was literally here during that 5-minute candle saying this, all right? And look what happened. Close at a new 5-minute low, and I'll mark it. All it had to do was close 1 cent lower on the 5-minute chart, and it did not, okay? That was that candle, and this is what happened right after that. So from being down about 30%, they went all the way up 40% since the entry. So they went up 30% just to be flat. I mean, it's a little bit different when you go down 30% to up 30%. You actually need a little bit of a larger move than 30% to go back up. But they went all the way back up to even, then another 40% after the alert. So for anybody who was scaling during this period, it was a very profitable scenario. I was up, I think, almost like 100% on one of my NVIDIA calls that I did take profits at, somewhere around over here, and I held the other calls, and I'm still holding them. I'm overnighting them. And yeah, after hours, I made a new high. So that was the NVIDIA breakdown. And then I also identified later in the day this 3 rising valleys, and played out towards the end of the day and slash after hours, but we'll see tomorrow. So hopefully it continues after this 1 hour breakout and beautiful back test. But there's no such thing as certainty with lines on the chart, and I will never act like there is. Okay. So that was the first one. The second one was City. I already kind of walked you all through my breakdown of this for the swing. Very similar, 1 hour double bottom, and we can just take a look at it. And this should have been marked green. This is kind of similar to what happened with the DSO crypto swing. Like, it literally was there, and I was like, there's no way it's not going to go like another 2% if it's already up 18%, and then it didn't. So it's not even a little bit. It's really frustrating. Where is it? All right, so The daily, everything I already talked about, and the calls I shared for City they were not. And same thing for NVIDIA. NVIDIA's were next week's, and then also for City. But the shark, the classic bullish divergence, the test of this supply line, okay, on the 4 hour, the 1 hour double bottom, and then obviously the options, which I also talked about earlier in the stream. So all that, and I mean, you can just find the alert time. This one's gonna be really, really quick. But 11:06, it was alerted. Remember, the calls were alerted 2 weeks out. So it was in this little consolidation range. This dip dropped the calls, I don't even remember how much percent, but I gave it a 30% stop and it never hit 30% under the original alert price. And then over here, from basically from this rally over here, they went up 18%. And to mark the green on the sheet, I was waiting for 20%. I was like, all right, it's just gonna go up a little bit more and I get to market green. Like literally probably like one more green 5-minute candle, it would have been marked green. And it wasn't even just City. It was, I mean, look at the timing. It's 1:30, 2 o'clock. What happened at 2 o'clock? The SPY stopped going up and it went down actually 1% before rallying. And this also did rally a little bit into the close, but also after hours, as you can see over here. So that was City. Even this low, I actually did share something. Let me see if I can find it. Might have been in just like the chat or something. It was in the chat. It's gonna take a while to find this, honestly. There we go. So I shared at 11:39. C is pulling back after alerting it just in the chat. And I did share this 52.25 level. You can barely even see it, honestly, but it's there. And that happened to be this level, which it did bounce off of. Actually, not once, but kind of twice. And it even gave some end of day classic bullish divergence. So that was the City calls. And again, I'm still in them personally. I'm still looking at them. They were not marked green or red on the sheet. They could have been marked green 2% away. I'm going to keep reminding myself and annoying myself. But yeah, that was C from today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. And then the final one I alerted clov calls. These didn't really do much. They didn't really do much. I probably alerted them, get the timestamp. I'm not going to go through everything. They were April 22nd. So these are the only weekly ones I alerted. These went up to like 47, 48 cents. They did not go up 20%. They didn't go down 20%. Still waiting. I think they closed like 41 cents. They basically closed flat, 12.43. I alerted them right over here. So it made a nice little move to VWAP. If it would have broken VWAP, maybe they would have hit 20% today, but it just didn't. And the S&P decided to fall 1%. But at least it held low, so we'll see tomorrow. It does have a little bit of a dragon setting up into tomorrow. As long as it doesn't gap down, you could very easily break out early in the morning. So please just don't gap down, because the thing is, if it gaps down like 1% and it breaks the lows, that would suck. But also, clov on the 15-minute is back testing these previous highs. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's not easy. You know, this was marked green. City pretty much was a green trade, just didn't mark it green. Clov was up like 10-15%, whatever. Not whatever, but I, you know, didn't really get to any level yet. But again, all of these were not just what I shared, like just in this channel alone, right? It's not just all of this. And this is what I was talking about in the beginning of the stream, that like I sat down here for 4 hours and I didn't even know it was 4 hours. Like I was just working like non-stop, like literally between trading myself, alerting different options, giving all of these updates on the options, okay? Also, to give the updates, I need to be looking at the charts throughout the day. Also at the same time, doing all these updates in the ETF simulator and putting out swings. Also put out swings in premium. It was like crazy. And then throughout all that, I was also in the chat the whole entire day, just sharing charts. Like just, I mean, look how many times you see Champion Advisor. Like, it's crazy. So it takes a lot of work, and I hope you appreciate that. Not even if you're in premium, but just if you watch the streams, like just the breakdown of the analysis. You know, I learned from Mitch Ray, and he does a great job on his stream, and I just want to do my best to see if I could help out people that are newer to all this. And I know it can get overwhelming. Don't try, I would say one thing, don't try and learn all this overnight. Give yourself time. Do not rush it. The worst thing you can do is rush. I mean, any craft, all right? You got to put in the time and do it properly, but all those updates. And then on top of those calls alerted in premium, We could do one other breakdown. Facebook, we already looked at it as like the swing, but remember if you go back last Thursday night stream, I brought up this wedge. I had my alert set. I was waiting for it to kind of complete a little bit more. The wedge completed today, and still, okay, and that's the thing. For clov I just talked about, for city I just talked about, for NVDA I just talked about, all the setups are they're still the same, okay? They're still very similar, and same thing for Facebook. So all these were alerted today, and NVIDIA it did go up 40%, it was marked green. Facebook did go up 20% after the alert to all of you, and it was marked green. So, but still, just because it was marked green doesn't mean it's necessarily over. I mean, it depends on what the overall market does, but yeah. So those were the premium alerts. This is the first time I've alerted an option outside of premium in probably like a month or two. I alerted Facebook calls to all of you in the Discord. The link is in the description. It's free to join. And these went from 244 to like 295, as you can see over here. There you go. So that was 225. So in about 45 minutes, these calls did go up 20% before falling 20%. So I marked them green on the sheet. And if you're like, what? How come you get to decide that? Join the Discord and read the pins, okay? Everything is explained very, very clearly, okay? If you're not joining the Discord and you're not following what I'm saying, it's not on me, all right? The resources are all there. They're in the pins. If you want to learn how to use them, go to verification and watch this video. But yeah, Facebook, what was I looking at on Facebook, and what am I still looking at on Facebook, okay? 5 minute, it broke. That doesn't really matter going into tomorrow, so we're not going to talk about it. But 15 minute, these are my levels. If you want to see what those numbers are because my screen's blocking it, join the Discord. Go to the Swing Updates channel. And just a straight up, just a wedge. I mean, just look at this. Triple classic bullish divergence, a textbook falling wedge, and Facebook is at the apex of the wedge.
Appreciate ya, champ. FTM spy alerts helped me out for sure today.
We got to talk about those too. Oh my gosh. So yeah, those as well. Nerve, shout out to you. Shout out to you for real. Thank you for all the tips, all the support on stream, on Twitter, and the Discord, everywhere. Vibes in the chat for Nerve with the $7.77. I appreciate you too. Day one in the stream. Big vibes in the chat for Nerve. If you're watching, the 22 people in here, I want to see some vibes in the chat right now. Thank you. First tip of the night/week. So yeah. The wedge, it's still at the apex of the wedge. It was testing a breakout. Keep an eye on Facebook for the rest of the week, okay? If just gotta hold today's lows. I don't know if we can do it for sure. There's no certainty. And again, it's never about certainty here because we never have certainty. It's about the reward, okay? Reward to risk. The risk, if you put it under these lows or even these lows, to the textbook target of a wedge is a 50% retrace. The textbook target, reward to risk, is a 3-to-1. The same exact formula we always talk about. I learned from Mitch Ray. All right, 3-2-1. Technically, you only need to win. I think initially I thought you only need to win a third of your trades to be profitable with a 3-to-1 reward to risk. But I think the lump said it was like a fourth of your trades, which is crazy. I'm not the best math guy, as you can tell, but 3-to-1 reward to risk scenarios. This is another one, okay? Facebook wedge. These are the levels. I guess you don't have to join the Discord to see them. Just take level by level. Just take level by level. I'm still keeping a very close eye on it. I actually don't have Facebook calls. I'm going to be watching it tomorrow morning, all right? You best believe that. All right, so just some reminders. Remember, you know, some of the things I talk about on stream, some of the things that I talk about on Twitter, in the Discord. Option alerts, swing alerts, sometimes I'm personally in them, sometimes I'm not. I don't want there to ever be some confusion. So yeah, all right. For example, I was in all of these, but I was not in the same exact strikes. I did get NVIDIA calls today. I got 2 different strikes actually. They were not the same as this. I got C calls today. They were not the same as these exact calls. I also got clov calls actually at the open. So this was like a much better alert than what I actually personally did myself when I got calls at the open, because it actually fell in the first few hours of the day. But I also got different, I think I got different clov calls. I'm pretty sure I did. All right. So there you go. And yeah, for me, I was saying it earlier, like I was around like before the SPY kind of flipped over, which must have been like over here. I was up a very nice amount, and I still closed like when I basically like I already talked about this earlier in the stream, just for anybody who missed. Like I was scaling in all throughout over here. When we were up in these areas, I was up like that was my max profit of the day, as I'm sure it was for many other people. I took a little bit of profits there, which was good. And then when we came down over here, pretty much, I was like, I pretty much lost like half my profits, like because I already locked some up over here. So whatever my percent was, like I was not up 10% up here. Let's say I was up 10% over here, then I was like up like 5% here because I still locked some. It was kind of weird. And then like the last few minutes of the day, like my account spiked up with the market, and then the options don't move the account after hours, but it was a nice move after hours. So that was kind of how I did today. Considering the chop, I'm not really. It's okay. I even shared this. This was at 113, so that might have actually. Let's see. That was like on this. No, actually, wow. Okay, wow. Wait, so 130. So over here, all right, like right over here, before we even really had this leg for the market, like literally like right over here, I shared like my current P&Ls. I didn't even remember this. So these top three were banks. This was the one. This was Morgan Stanley, I think. This was the one. I had a very small position in it, and it went up almost like 100% or something, and I think it might have went up 100%. This is the one I did take profits on. I'm still holding these two banks. I don't remember which is which because they're on this screenshot. And then what did I say? These two were NVIDIA. These calls went up like almost 100%. I did take profits on these NVIDIA calls. And then these NVIDIA calls I overnighted. They closed up 30%, but then NVIDIA went up over 1% after hours. And these are the clov calls I told you all about that I got at the open. I'm still down on those calls. So overall, I'm up on the banks that I got. I'm up on NVIDIA. And again, this was at 113. So like if these are the numbers when we were over here, up here, I was having a great time. I even tweeted something like, again, I really have a good time with just like having like a really big fake ego. It's just funny to me, but I was like, look at the timestamp on this. Oh my gosh, look at this. 1:50 p.m. The fact of the matter is that I am unstoppable. Let's see where that is. It's literally, oh my gosh, it was literally over here. But you can imagine how good I was feeling. If those were my P&Ls over here, when we did this in like another 40 minutes, like you could see why I was feeling like this at 150. And then like 10-15 minutes later, when the market stopped like going up, down, up, down, up, down, we start consolidating. That's the point at which I was like, whoa, it's been 4 hours. So hopefully the last hour kind of was a decent breakdown of how hectic and just honestly like fun but also stressful today was for me. It was a nice green day, but it took a lot of work. So we talked about the swings, the market. I mean, and let alone, we didn't even talk about all the market analysis, right? That Nerd brought up in this tip. We had that, and then we had new swings. I'm not going to show one premium, but we already talked about the one outside premium. And then we have some updates. Again, if you didn't watch this video, first of all, if you don't know what the simulator ETF is, it's basically a fake ETF that's managed by 4 of the moderators in the free trading movement, which is the Discord, links in the description. And basically, if you want to see how our ETF is done, it's not up right now, but again, we're slowly scaling these positions. We've only used a small amount of the capital. The market's been selling off, and we're only focused on 1 year out returns. We also have a spreadsheet that Lord Bogendoff made with a lot of more like statistics of our buys and sells. But if you're just confused whenever I talk about the simulator ETF, join the Discord, go to the links channel, and just watch this. It's a video breakdown of what it is, how we run it. There's rules we have. We have literally polls and a whole entire managers chat to decide on literally all of this stuff, okay? So we and I were doing all of this as well with all that madness, okay? And yeah, so we did some updates today, like I said earlier. We decreased the coin allocation, increased the C allocation, like I was talking about those financials. We got some skills. This went from like, I think 30 something to $2. It's crazy. Small position there. Some JP Morgan. Lord Bogendoff added to the T position. So a lot of work has been taking place. All right. So find a way to help yourself, okay? Between the swings, crypto, ETF, premium, market analysis in the chats, all the work all the other moderators doing and the members are doing, and of course the memes and all of these bots, the educational channels, link is in the description if you want to join the Discord. If you want to join premium, which I give like updates on like the options trades on stream. Those are mainly from premium, apart from the one on Facebook today and all these other stuff. That link is in the description if you're ever interested in premium. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Scaled in on NVDA, exited at 50% and left one runner. Thanks, brother. Really, really glad to hear that. Vibes in the chat. Hopefully the after hours gains hold. So yeah, just join Discord. If you ever get confused about what I talk about on the stream, the course links in the description. And that's the majority of what I want to talk about tonight. It's been a crazy stream.
Because you are not aware of the present. You know, the present is represented on your watch by a hairline. That is as thin as possible, as is consistent with visibility.
Zeke looks like you had it out.
So everybody thinks the present is...
Risky Seed says, all my calls are next year in 2024. All my clov calls next year and 2024. I hope they go well for you. Thank you all for the vibes in the chat. Alright, so hit the like button if you didn't already. Thank you for watching the stream. I know I haven't done ticker requests in some time. They'll come back again. Like I said, I'm here for another 2 weeks. Then for 4 months, longer streams, timestamps are coming back. I'll be doing ticker requests. We're gonna be putting out, I don't know who, I'm gonna have to figure it out, but clips are gonna be going out on TikTok and Instagram. Go follow the TikTok and Instagram. I think we have like 2,000 on Instagram, which is crazy. And there hasn't been any posts there in a long time. But again, in the links channel, there's the links to all those, my Twitters and everything. It's gonna be a crazy summer. All right, timestamps, social medias. You can just imagine if I did all of that work I was just talking about while being full-time at college. Imagine what's gonna be like in the summer. For those of you who were here last year, you knew what the summer was like last year. Okay, May and June were some of the craziest months ever. May and June 2021. Anybody who was here, like, I'm pretty sure this was from then. It was insane. I don't know if it was also a crazy market as well, but we'll see. So there's all of that, and yeah, summer's gonna be great. Longer streams as well, all that stuff. Just give me 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks, and we're gonna do all that. I mean, today was a 1 hour stream, and there was a couple new swings, multiple options ideas. So yeah, hopefully we can put the foot on the gas pedal again, get this number up to like 3,000. That's probably my goal by the end of the summer. Just get 3K members. Tell your dogs, cats, neighbors, friends, uncle to join the FTM, and have a great night. All right, peace out.
Present is so unsatisfying. I wish I was materialistic, excited for the future unfolding. Thank God I'm not realistic. Heels overhead in the bedroom. You smell so good, don't need perfume. I'm a tool to build a spring bloom. I'd be a fool not to love you. That's the last thing I say to you. I'd you. I'd be a fool not to love you. I'd be a fool not to love you.